أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. By the barakah of Sidi Shaykh Sidi Mohamed Faouzi al-Karkari قدس الله سره. Notes from lecture from November 2024. Before starting this video, I would like to say that this work would never have seen the light without Sidi Shaykh. If something is wrong, it will be from myself, and everything that is correct is from Sidi Shaykh. The disciple stated that he sees the light with multiple colors. In his response, Sidi Shaykh said that the disciple often says, I see the light. However, they must look into the center of this light and immerse themselves within it to search for the lamp, al-Musbah. In the beginning, the lamp appears as a small point, as if the disciple is gathering all the light into a single point. Sidi Shaykh added that if the disciple sees colors, it's not a problem. They may see multiple colors like blue, white, green, etc. These colors represent the colors of the glass, az-zujaja. When the lamp, al-Musbah, is inside the glass, it emits light of the color of the glass. If the glass is red, it gives off red light. This glass represents the totality of the divine name, or the union of the divine name, Jamayatul Asma, like the Hearing, As-Sami', the Knowing, Al-Alim, the Wise, Al-Hakim. When the disciple reads the divine names in the spiritual realm, Al-Malakut, they are not written in letters as they are in the physical realm, Al-Mulk, but are read as light, because the reality of everything is light. The divine names and everything that a person sees, their reality is light. This light appears in different colors, so that the seer knows what they are witnessing. For example, blue represents the divine name, the encompassing, Al-Muhit. Orange represents the name, the king, Al-Malik. Green represents the totality of the divine names, Jamayatul Asma. White represents Al-Awwal, the first. Purple represents Al-Wali, the friend, and so on. The disciple must know this so they understand what they are seeing. Each time, the light takes on a color corresponding to one of the divine names, but the true nature of the light is colorless. The disciple's primary concern should be to focus and see the lamp as a star, Najm. When the disciple focuses on the star, it's as if they are gathering everything into one. Sidi Shaykh then added that some imagine that when they see the divine light in the form of a cloud, Sahaba, they have attained everything. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, the first group to cross the bridge, as-Sirat, without reckoning, their faces will be like the full moon. The Prophet ﷺ thus specified the form and luminous intensity of this face that crosses the Sirat. Then he said, the second group will be like the light of the brightest star in the sky. So, the matter is defined and specified in its manner, state, and intensity. Everyone knows the moon and its luminosity. Similarly, the appearance of a star is easily recognizable. One need only to look up at the night sky to see the light of a star and understand the comparison. Some might mistake a cloud for knowledge, when they haven't even reached the heavens. The cloud is considered a veil, preventing one from knowing the stars, the moon, and the sun. This means that the disciple is still struggling, still facing a problem. Therefore, disciples shouldn't keep saying, Sidi Shaykh, we saw a cloud. Everyone sees that initially. So what should the disciple work on? Once they see the cloud, they must work harder to see further. The Shaykh tells the disciple, try to gather this cloud in the center. Gathering the cloud in the center is like merging clouds within clouds within clouds, forming a mass of clouds. The disciple doesn't actually do anything. They just focus on the process of gathering the light. This is what the Shaykh wants. He wants the disciple to learn how to gather their scatteredness, shatat, into a single point. In reality, when the disciple engages in this process, this luminous power gathers, or conversely, the disciple penetrates it. If they penetrate, They see what's beyond it and find a piercing star, نجم ثاقب. If they gather it, it forms a piercing star because it hasn't truly gathered, but their mind tells them they are gathering. The disciple loves themselves and likes to say, I'm working. So they act as if they are working, but in reality, it's as if they are following the last point of the cloud. So they are as if gathering, and this last point of the cloud leads them to what? It leads them to penetrate the cloud and see what lies beyond. As soon as they penetrate the cloud, a star becomes clear to them. If instead of one star, many stars become clear, this is not what is needed. The one, al-wahid, is needed, not multiplicity. The disciple doesn't want distractions. They want what brings them closer. They should seek one star, and if they seek many stars, they won't reach their goal. They should look at the center, and the center is just a concept to quiet the mind so it doesn't overthink. In reality, there is no center because in the spiritual realm, al-malakut, there are two directions, the higher and the lower. The higher is the light of God, and the lower is the darkness of the soul. This is where the disciple ascends, rises, and escapes the darkness of their soul. So they shouldn't focus on directions, but on this primary reality, al-haqiqa al-awwaliyya. If there are multiple stars, the disciple should follow the direction of the qibla that they are facing. The star that is in the qibla is the star to follow. It's the compass, the light, and the one that will save them from the darkness of their soul. Even if it appears small, it is not small. If it appears as a small star, it will be brighter than all other stars, always signaling that it is the origin and the others are branches. The disciple should look at it with reverence, ta'zim, with respect and awe, and hasten along this path that it illuminates for them. The other stars are like disciples gathering around their Shaykh. They understand proper conduct, adab, in the spiritual realm better than humans do. Sidi Shaykh referred to the Quranic verse, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, each floats in an orbit. They know their orbit and their origin, so they gather in this house. When they gather around it, around the original star, its presence becomes evident, greater than the mind could have imagined, and its presence becomes illuminating, like a full moon. It's not that the star disappeared and the moon appeared. It's the same. The disciple is the one whose mind goes and returns, whose soul, nafs, goes and returns to the presence of nearness of their Lord. Now the moon appears. Does the disciple stop here and return from whence they came? No, on the contrary, the path is endless. It has no end. It is without limit. If they reach the moon, they search in its center, which doesn't actually exist. It's a distraction for the mind, so that the mind is at ease. This method comforts the mind, making it imagine that it has accomplished something, while in reality it hasn't. This process keeps the mind from thinking. It trains and educates the mind in the best way, teaching it to work on a single idea and to contemplate on the primary fundamental idea without paying attention to any other idea. Proceeding step by step, the mind learns proper conduct, adab, and ethics. This mind then understands and relies on God. يعقل ويتوكل. After understanding the moon, it doesn't stop there, but dives into this moon and looks at its reality. Here, the process of how God created the moon begins, because in reality, it's not a moon, it's a handful of light. But in the stages of understanding, with a sensory perception, the soul perceives it and sees it as a moon, shaped like a moon. So then, when the disciple's mind and soul insist on knowing what lies beyond this moon, the opportunity is not wasted. It reveals the knowledge of how the moon began, how it moved, and so that the disciple gains knowledge, the knowledge of what is perceived by the eye. Then they search for the reality beyond this vision, and once again, the star appears. This is why this star is fundamental, because it's like the original gem, Fasl Asli, from which the moon was formed, and it brought the disciple back from the moon to it. This unique, unparalleled luminous flashing gem, when it flashes, it burns the light of sight. When this star appears, the disciple must work on it again. If the star brings the disciple back to the moon, this doesn't mean it's a routine or repetition, but rather The disciple's mind and comprehension doesn't have the capacity for more. So the disciple must try to give it a truth and reflect on the moon and try again. When the disciple is persistent and insists on knowing the matter again and again, it may take them months, nights, hours, or seconds, depending on their persistence in their path and wayfaring, because they are in a state of examination. The disciple is being tested, and they must understand this. Then this gem appears, and when it radiates, it becomes like the sun. So, when it becomes like the sun, what is the interested message? The message is that the disciple's mind and understanding have expanded. Their knowledge has expanded. Their perception of the meanings of nearness to the divine light of the most merciful has expanded. Now, should they say, I have the sign of knowledge, the matter is over, I will take my bag and move on to something else? No, they came and said that they want nothing from this fleeting world but the knowledge of the wali. So they must stay until they know this wali. So if the disciple then enters the sun and insists on knowing its reality, it returns them to the radiant gem. So each time they penetrate the moon, they return to the gem, which is the star. They penetrate the cloud, they return to the star. They penetrate the sun, they return to the star. The disciples return to the star, and to the star, and to the star, bestows upon them the anchoring or stabilization, tasbeed of the piercing star, until the mind believes and says, the star is my star. This belief is incorrect, yet the Shaykh tells the disciple, you are correct. The Shaykh says that, so the disciple's mind is at ease, and they aspire for more. They say, the star is my star, because it has become ingrained within them. Then the Shaykh tells the disciple, you must see the star in everything, until they see the star throughout the day, and it never leaves them. So what does the disciple understand at this level of the journey? Where has the disciple reached? The sun? No. The moon? No. At this level, the disciple has merely anchored or stabilized the star. Witnessing the moon and all the stages they went through are merely resting stations for the soul and nafs to absorb the matter. But the reality is that the disciple now has a star, that they are among those about whom the Prophet ﷺ said, and the second group is like the bright star in the sky. So if the disciple established and stabilized the light of the brightest star in the sky, then good tidings to them. And how does the disciple confirm that the star has been stabilized? When they find that it never leaves their sight. They see it wherever they are, in prayer, in ablution, outside prayer, outside ablution, eyes open, eyes closed, they have a star. Then their soul is at peace, and they say, I have a star. Then the Shaykh moves on with the disciple to the stage of the moon and how to stabilize the moon. Then to the sun and the stage of how to stabilize the sun. Sidi Shaykh referred to the words of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam when he said, I saw 11 stars and the sun and the moon. I saw them prostrating to me. As soon as his star is stabilized, it is declared and known that he is the origin, and others seek from him and are branched to him. This then clarifies the beginning of the journey, so the disciple is not confused. As for those who see a cloud and mistake it for the light, they should indeed reflect upon their understanding. While their state is undoubtedly better than those enveloped in darkness, those whose hearts are filled with it, the cloud is still not the light. For when the Prophet ﷺ described the light as the brightest star and like the moon, he didn't describe it as a cloud. So why does the disciple add the cloud? Sidi Shaykh explained that the cloud represents the knowledge of Bahira. Bahira is the man who saw a cloud overshadowing the Prophet ﷺ while he passed in a caravan. It was a sign of prophethood for Bahira, and he comprehended that the young man under the cloud will be a prophet. Therefore, when the disciple sees the cloud, they should understand the message that it is a shadow or an umbrella for the star. If they don't understand this, then what is the benefit of their reading of the biography of the Prophet ﷺ and hadith? Seeing the cloud is like blurred vision. Blurred vision is better than blindness, but blurred vision is not clear sight. The Shaykh wants the disciple to have an ironclad vision, basar hadidi, a penetrating sight. So that was all for this video. Alhamdulillah الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. اللهم لك الحمد، اللهم لك الحمد، اللهم لك الحمد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم، وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.